So obviously we took a little break, but we back. While we were gone, the NBA Finals happened. Unfortunately for Nick Saya's sake, the Boston Celtics beat the Miami Heat in 7 games. And obviously the Golden State Warriors were already in the finals. We knew that. So it's the Warriors Celtics finals. The Celtics are up 1-0 after an insane fourth quarter comeback in game one. But right now, it's looking like the Warriors are going to take game two up 29 in the fourth. They're looking like their old selves. But this is what I want to talk about. I want to ask Nick what he thinks went wrong for the Heat in that series.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say things went wrong per se, because I think Miami should have been in the finals. Like, although I don't I'm not mad about how it was. Do y'all think he was in or out with that 3-pointer next Drews?
He was in. After seeing the replay a couple times, he was in.
It's a very close call. Like the photo I've seen, like the photos I see of it, it could have gone either way. I think.
I feel
So I'm
like
not,
I feel like the really zoomed in picture shows that his heel was still up. That's just my opinion though.
but you know, Miami would have won the finals. They just don't want to see us winning.
In my opinion, I think it all went downhill when Tyler Hero got hurt because he was that game changer off the bench.
Not having him for a couple of games was tough. And then even in that game seven, he didn't really look like Tyler.
No, he only played like a couple minutes too.
But in the couple of minutes, it just did not look well.
No.
I think they should have just let him sit that game too. But
Yeah, I mean, I also look at Kyle Lowry and say that he has to step up a lot more for the Heat in the future if they do retain him,
he might not be back.
which is I wouldn't blame them if they did let him go because he didn't
Like
show up when they needed him.
Spider.
I mean, it's looking like Spite is uncomfortable in Utah now, so you never know.
Facts.
Gio,
But
you got anything you want to say about that Heat Celtic series?
Yeah. So for me, right? Obviously, we can look back at the Jimmy Butler 3-point shot. Was that the smartest shot he could have taken? Probably not. But that was, like people are saying, a legacy shot. If he makes it, he'd go down in history as one of the most clutch one of the most clutch players of all time, right? For me, it's not even on Tyler Hero, right? It's not on anyone for me except for Duncan Robinson. He's getting paid $60 million not to make shots right now. Whereas
Well,
those
but you could also argue that he barely played.
Right, because when he did play, he was not productive.
True.
I would have rather paid Alex Caruso that $60 million. He would have been more productive in that series than anybody else because he's right now 4 years and $37 million. Okay. And I feel like Duncan Robinson not being able to be productive, you already have a shot creator in Tyler Hero. You don't really need a Duncan Robinson on the Miami Heat. And for them to pay him $60 million and for him to do nothing in that series, I feel like he's the one to blame, really. Jimmy Butler put it all on the line. Bam Adebayo put it all on the line. Victor Oladipo even played some defense. Everyone played their hearts out. Even Tyler Hero with like a torn hamstring, was it?
It was a quad, I think.
Torn quad, something like that. Came back in game 7 to put it all on the line. And for me, I don't think Duncan Robinson did that.
I can see that. But Nick, did you like the Jimmy Butler shot? Because personally, I thought he should have drove. He already had Horford backpedaling and could have easily got by him for a layup.
well, the way I see it, like there, he should have driven in and try to get the easy layup. But at the same time, that would put us up one, making it easier for Boston to hit a game winner on us.
Right.
And
So
there's
I can
still a lot of
also,
time left, so you could say that too.
Yeah, there
so
would
I'm
have
just
been
saying,
11 seconds left, something like
Something
that
like
for
that.
Jason Tatum to bring down the ball. So
Right.
yeah. So I understand going for the 3, making a 2-point game instead of just a 1. But in
right.
hindsight, that he missed the shot, he should have done something else.
I feel like if they were going for a three, I think he should have just ran the offense and got it to a better 3-point shooter than himself because he's not known for threes.
Very true. He's been hitting them for us this playoffs though.
That's true, he was, but like it's not like that wasn't a normal three. It was like a moving three.
Yeah, it wasn't the best shot selection for Jimmy Butler, but that's my guy. I'm with it.
That's fair. I mean, you never know. We'll see what the Heat do in the offseason.
Exactly.
Speaking of the offseason,
But
obviously.
real
Go
quick,
ahead, Gio. Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this, but Miami was down 2.
Oh, with that 3?
Yeah. If that 3 would have went in, they would have been up by 1. If he made that layup, they would have tied it. It was 98-96.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I feel like
I
that's
didn't know
also.
if it was 1 point or 2, so I had to look it up real quick.
I feel like that's also why he went for the win because he didn't
Right.
want it to go to overtime and risk that.
Right.
no, okay. Yeah.
But either way, right? Jason Tatum would have had enough time
Right.
to bring down the
Exactly.
ball and make a game winner because the pressure would have been on Jason Tatum, not Jimmy Butler, right?
And
If
we've seen
Miami was up by 1, so
the Celtics hit a game winner already, and Ime Udoka is great at out of bounds play calls, so you never know what could have happened.
right. But I also would have had more confidence in the Miami defense, so
That's true.
too.
But I don't know. Well, obviously, we'll never know because it's over.
It is.
It happens.
I mean, at least your team made the playoffs. I'm over here, watching teams that aren't even mine.
Y'all might be there next year though.
We'll see. Depends on if we have, real Russell
I-
Westbrook or this Russell Westbrook.
Or if you bring in another little shooting guard over there.
It's true. What were you gonna say, Gio?
I want to ask Nick a follow-up, right? Just
Yeah.
because Miami's always so close in the playoffs. They're either in the conference finals or the finals, which is, amazing for them, in their own standpoint. But what do they have to do now next year following this loss?
The way I see it, next year's going to be tougher, I think, than this year was.
For sure.
So
I think the East will be stronger.
I think so too, because you'll have Kyrie all season too.
Right.
With the Brooklyn Nets all day. And then teams will just get better, but sorry, what was the question again?
What do you guys have to do to win a championship next season or in the near future?
I think it's just stay healthy. I think we would have been in the finals if we were healthy the entire series.
For sure.
Maybe bring in a few more like 3-and-D guys. But I think one thing that could be massive to Miami making the championship is if a spider comes to Miami and Donovan Mitchell.
D-Wade 2.0.
Exactly.
I mean, for me, for the Heat, I look at the point guard position still. Like Kyle Lowry was good, but his health was an issue all season. And it happened in the playoffs when it mattered most. And then he clearly wasn't 100% in that Eastern Conference Finals either.
So a point guard that looks more on the move every single day coming forth is Colin Sexton. Do you believe that Colin Sexton could possibly go to Miami?
No.
I don't think he'd be a good fit there personally. I think he'd have to go to a more low profile team.
Why is that?
I feel like he in his mind thinks he has to be the man. So I feel like if he was on Miami, he wouldn't be happy, or any high profile team.
I don't think it's him wanting to get moved out. I think it's more Cleveland finding Darius Garland and wanting for him to develop more rather than Sexton wanting to leave.
But I also think he's mad that he doesn't get as much opportunities as he used to before Garland.
So I believe, for one, he's a defensive threat, as we all know, correct?
Right.
So Miami, a defensive team predominantly known by, right? With him being on the team, I feel like their defense gets that much better. But also, I feel like him and Jimmy Butler can work out an agreement like Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan could, right? Later on in their career in Toronto, and they can build that relationship. So
I don't know. I just don't see the fit personally, but let's see what Saya has to say.
It depends. He's a free agent or not?
He's a
No.
restricted free agent. Yeah,
Well, yeah, but like they would
it
also
could be a sign and trade.
it'd probably be a sign and trade is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it would have to be a sign and trade. But even then, if I'm Miami, I don't even want to throw in like I would throw in. No, I wouldn't even throw in a player per se for him
Okay.
if I'm like the GM of Miami. But I would like him on Miami if the value is right.
But I feel like the Cavs would ask for a lot personally.
Yeah, that's the only reason I don't see him coming to Miami.
And that's another reason why I feel like he'll end up on a low profile team if he does get moved.
And money wise, I don't think Miami will have enough money to like sign him to where Cleveland will not match.
Right.
I think it was what was the max contract for? Wasn't it $100 million, something like that?
For a max.
I think
For a
that's the
max
max.
for Colin Sexton.
Something like around that, yeah.
No one's giving them that though.
No.
No,
Well, I'm
but-
just saying I don't think anyone would trade for that.
No.
So well, it's a 4-year, $70 million. Sorry.
Oh, that's not bad, but like still, I don't think he's worth that much.
I think the Cavs would want like a two first round picks for that. I don't think anyone's willing to give up that. So
Right. I mean, yeah, because the Heat would have to. I feel like the Cavs would ask for like a Tyler Hero, and the Heat would just be stupid to do that.
to be honest, I would ask for, even though I just ripped on Duncan Robinson, I think Duncan Robinson could be great, in Cleveland with the guys that they have there now, especially with when they have a great, front court, they can just kick it out and Duncan will hopefully have an open shot. So
Like, if you do that, would you ask for a couple picks too? Because Duncan for Colin straight up isn't really fair for the Cavs. I feel like.
to be honest, I would do a second round or a first round pick. Like most likely would be a second round because a $70 million contract to a $60 million contract, it's $10 million, right?
Yeah.
So you're taking on Colin's contract, but you're also getting a better player. So I feel like that would be a great trade-off there. But overall, I'm not too sure what would happen. Just something's got to happen for Miami because I don't think they can, run it back with the same team.
With this theoretical, my boy Duncan in Cleveland, I think that would be a great fit as well, though. Especially with your like 3 forward center lineups.
Right.
You guys have like a length to where Duncan Robinson can hide behind his lackluster defense.
Mhm.
And I think that would be like a really good fit for him to really thrive. But I'd rather not have him go to Cleveland.
There's only one team I want Duncan on, and yeah, y'all know what that team is.
Miami Heat.
Yeah, right.
To
Or
be
the
honest,
Utah Jazz.
Go ahead, Joe.
kind of moving forward, right? Would you rather give up more for a Tyler Hero or give up less for a Duncan Robinson? Being a Laker fan, who would you obviously you want Tyler Hero, but what would you try to give up for either one of those players?
Honestly, I'd probably end up giving up less for Duncan Robinson, to be honest, because I feel like he's a better fit than Tyler Hero. He's not a spot up shooter. He needs the ball in his hands, I feel like, to get his shot. And Duncan,
Right, he's a shot creator, yeah.
and Duncan is a spot up shooter. Like,
Okay.
I feel like he'd be the better fit with LeBron.
So I saw a trade. I believe it was, I want to hear your thoughts too, Nick, but Bam Adebayo and I think it was Duncan Robinson and Strus, right? For Anthony
You don't
Davis
want AD
and
first.
AD and Russell Westbrook.
Oh,
I mean-
heck no.
I mean, that's awful. That's awful for the Heat, but like,
Really?
I feel like it is because one, Russell Westbrook is not the same. Two, you can't depend on Anthony Davis to stay healthy for an entire season at this rate.
You can't. But as Bo is so great, right? Like I feel like he knows how to rest players throughout the season, like he did with LeBron and Dwayne Wade, especially later in Dwayne Wade's career when he was having those knee issues. He kind of knew how to rest and how to prepare him to be useful in the playoffs until he obviously has gotten hurt in the playoffs. But
Yeah,
still,
I see that. I just think it's an unrealistic trade, but like as a Lakers fan, this is one of the best trades that you've said personally that I can see, but I don't think it will ever happen.
right.
If I'm the Lakers, bro, I'm accepting that as soon as possible.
Right?
That would be phenomenal for LA. LeBron gets a nice gritty center and Bam who can really do a lot.
Right.
And he's an Iron Man, like in a way. And then you get the perimeter shooting of Duncan Robinson as well, and Strus kind of shoots well too. That would be ideal for an LA team.
Mhm.
Facts. But it's just very unrealistic.
I don't want to see my boy Bam go either though.
No, I don't think you guys are gonna trade Bam at all. Like I don't see why you would.
I
That's my
feel
guy.
like Bam, and Tyler Hero, and obviously Jimmy Butler are untouchable for you guys. I don't see you guys trading those three guys. Everyone else is on the table though.
I agree.
I also agree.
But to get the big news, obviously the Utah Jazz coach Quinn Snyder has stepped down, and this has left Donovan Mitchell unsettled about his future with the team. And obviously, Nick, you spoke about that. You want him to go to Miami, but outside of Miami, if Donovan Mitchell does end up forcing his way out, what fits do you guys think is best for him?
I'm trying to like think of a fit that also has like a realistic trade as well. That's like the difficult part about it.
I mean, the first team that comes to my mind is like the Knicks, but like I don't know who they would give up.
Marketability wise for Donovan Mitchell, New York would be phenomenal. He could go by that. He could literally like start sloganing as Spider-Man
Mhm.
if he's in New York.
That's true.
Like business wise, that would be a great catch.
But I just don't know like who they give up outside of Julius Randle.
Maybe Cam Reddish
Maybe, yeah.
as well.
They also do have a boatload of picks they could throw in there, so that helps them.
Yeah, that's very beneficial.
What what do you think, Gio?
For me, I have three teams in mind right now.
Okay,
I've got New York, probably number one.
same.
I hope, this is my hope, Miami. If you can get rid of, even though I just said Tyler Hero is untouchable, they'd get rid of Tyler Hero and something else for Donovan Mitchell in a heartbeat. I feel like him and Jimmy Butler, they're both clutch players. They don't need to have the responsibilities solely on them. I feel like that would be a great fit for Spo and, that offense, especially also on defense too, to help him, become a better defensive player as well. Because he is a good defensive player, but he can, jump that extra level. Number three would be Philly. I feel like if they can get rid of the contract of Tobias Harris, possibly something else, Joel Embiid would have that other player.
But if you're talking about Philly, are you saying James Harden's with them still or gone?
I'm not signing him to the max.
Okay, so
If I'm Philly,
you're saying he's leaving?
I would say if he's able to take a smaller contract, right, I'm keeping him. If not, then I'm doing a sign and trade with him and Tobias Harris.
I just if it's D Mitch and James Harden on the same team, I don't see that fit working.
I see James Harden having a lesser role, like a Carmelo Anthony right now. Maybe a little bit larger role than Carmelo, but still like somewhat in that range where he's not the same player as he used to be, but he's going to be that shot creator where in tough times, I feel like he's going to be able to knock down those open shots, whereas players will miss them. So
I guess, but I feel like if it's James Harden, he's obviously not ready to admit that he's not the same player. So I think if his role does decrease, if they do get D Mitch, I think he's going to force his way out again.
right. And I totally agree with you. And another thing I missed is the reason why I have him going to Miami is because there is a rumor Jimmy Butler is leaving if he did not go to the finals. What
That's
would
true,
make him
but
very happy is getting like a Bradley Beal or a Donovan Mitchell. And that would allow him to be like, all right, I'll stay with you guys. Thank you for doing this. Let's run it back.
speaking of Bradley, Nick, do you think Beal or D Mitch would be the better fit for you guys?
Um, it depends what we would trade, I think, though.
That's true. I feel like Beal would be the better fit though.
I think trade package wise and fit, Bradley Beal would be better.
Yeah, I agree.
With the Bradley Beal trade, I feel like we can still keep Tyler somehow.
For sure. Yeah.
And then that kind of adds like 2 shot creators that can do their things. So there's like always offense on the floor with Jimmy Butler as well too. But like having multiple people who can score the ball, so then we don't have to heavily rely on our defense as much while also locking up. I think Bradley Beal would be ideal because he's a bucket from anywhere. And Donovan Mitchell is more of a bucket because of the amount he shoots, I think.
I agree.
So I think Bradley Beal would be a better team fit.
I agree. I think ideally for both Beal and D Mitch, I think D Mitch would be a better fit for New York and Beal would just be better in Miami.
Age-wise, though, I would love him in Miami.
That's true. If yeah, that's also true. You got to take that into factor as well. But you got something to say, Gio?
Right. Yeah. I totally agree with that statement. I was about to say, if you guys didn't say it, the reason why I want Donovan Mitchell in Miami, right, is because I don't think New York's going to win anytime soon. Just because they're always rebuilding. They don't really have a culture. They had one last year, but it fell apart this year. Miami's built a culture over the last decade, 2 decades. With Donovan Mitchell there, you have a longevity where he could be there for the next 5 to 10 years, right? Whereas I feel like Bradley Beal, although he would be great now because he is talking about, his passing ability, being a team player, right? I feel like Bradley Beal would help you guys now, but Donovan Mitchell would help you guys in the future. So
Fair.
I agree with that. It's very valid.
But I'll go ahead, Jesse.
Well, it depends. You want to segue to something else, or you want to stay on this? What you feeling?
I mean, I can do whatever.
Like I got something in mind, but like if y'all want to keep talking about it,
No, we can talk about it.
Huh?
I said we can keep talking about it.
What you want to talk about?
I'm saying we could stay on this topic.
Yeah, what you feeling?
I thought you had a question you wanted to ask. You looked like you were going to say something.
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask more about like Utah.
all right,
That's
yeah,
all
let's go
about.
there
That's
then.
all I was about to talk anyway. But what
Okay.
was the question?
How many answers do you think we're gonna get now that Quinn Snyder's not gonna be the coach anymore?
Like about why they fell apart, or like why they always never got success?
Yeah, like
I think a lot more is going to come out because I think, especially if D Mitch leaves, he's going to bring it all out. I feel like.
I, I'm just excited to see how Rudy plays without Quinn Snyder's defense, like his scheme. Like I'm curious if we're gonna get the same defense player of the year, Rudy Gobert, that we usually get.
I think it depends on the coach they hire and that coach's method. And I feel like the only liable option for them is either Terry Stotts or Kenny Atkinson at this point.
Fair.
But what do you think, Gio?
I would have to agree with Nick in that question. Where are we going to get that same Rudy? For me, they already got rid of Quinn Snyder, right? He's stepping down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for you guys, I personally feel like he would have been a better coach, but we'll see what the first timer has to do in LA this year. I'm
I
not too
think
sure about the respect level, right, that he's gonna get.
I think he's going to get great respect because he's already coached with us before. Like obviously not with these players, but like I think that helps already personally.
That, but also the age gap, it's very close. I feel like being so close to your players in age might not work out, just as we've seen with Steve Nash's, right? Derek Fisher's.
Honestly, I feel like Quinn Snyder would be a great assistant coach for his staff if Quinn's up to it.
I would love to see that as well. I was about to ask that for you. So it's a good thing, hopefully that does happen for you guys. But since they already got rid of him, right? Rudy Gobert, I heard is a trade rumor going to you guys, right? Is it for Anthony Davis?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen that rumor to be
I
honest.
would take that trade in a heartbeat.
I would not personally because a healthy Anthony Davis gives personally, in my opinion, a healthy Davis gives you so much more than a healthy Rudy Gobert.
And I would have to agree with that. But the thing is, he plays 1 in 3 games. You get Rudy for the longevity part of it. And
Yeah,
with LeBron James elevating everyone's, game to the max, I feel like Rudy's game will be elevated.
I don't know. I personally don't like Rudy. I think he's overrated personally. He's not a good offensive player. He showed that in the playoffs, and he's just a defensive player, which would help us defensively, yeah.
Right.
But we also need offense, and I feel like we'd be losing more if we got rid of Anthony Davis for Rudy.
I would agree. But with the fact of LeBron James, I feel like he could open up a lot of possibilities for him.
I don't know. I just wouldn't like to. I wouldn't even want to see Russ and LeBron alone. Like I just think that alone would be awful.
Just put this image. Oh, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, also the idea of like Rudy Gobert in LA. I know he's a very good defender. Like he's phenomenal around the rim, but it's also not gonna be that same Utah defense where they just kind of funnel everything into him. So what happens when he's in a system where he is playing one-on-one basketball instead of just playing rim?
He can't guard. Luca exposed him. We saw that.
But he's not
Like,
going to have to guard Luca.
He'll have to guard. Dude, we switch. The Lakers switch. We don't care. So he will have to guard top tier players.
But that was with a different coach. We have to see what his coaching style is in order to, make an assessment.
Yeah, that's true. But
That's just my opinion. With a new coach, I can't, assess anything right now for LA just because I want to see what their playing style is like.
that's fair. But I think if the Lakers do trade AD, it also pushes LeBron James out of the door after the season.
It does, but at the same time, I feel like you're getting a guy that can play. We've seen LeBron James and Timothy Mozgov. Timothy Mozgov looked insane in Cleveland because of LeBron James, and now he's. I don't think he's nowhere to be found right now. But when you get an all-star in Rudy Gobert, I just want to see that transition from being an all-star player, being a subpar, offensive player and an amazing defensive player, to being a great offensive player, getting easy baskets where LeBron James can, create that for you.
That's true. He could create those, so that is valid. But I just
But
think personally we're better off with Anthony Davis.
I do
Even
agree
if
with you.
he's
Anthony Davis healthy is a way better player, though.
right.
but it's also not just gonna be a 1-for-1, right?
No,
You
I wouldn't
Jazz
think
have to
so.
throw in a few pieces like maybe Jingles or something.
Yeah, Joe
And
Ingles, yeah.
yeah, they have to throw in a lot more than just Rudy because it's even though AD can't stay healthy, it's still AD.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
So even if you do get like a Joe Ingles, who would be great for you guys, 3-and-D type of guy. So
It's true.
maybe like Bojan, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, they would definitely have to throw in more than Rudy.
would you try to throw in a THT as well? Try to get Jordan Clarkson and something else.
Honestly, I am a THT fan, but if we can get Jordan Clarkson and he can play the way he has played on Utah, I would do that.
If you trade Anthony Davis and THT for Bojan or Ingles, right? JC and uh Rudy, those 3 guys, one of those 3 guys, right? So I think that would be a great trade for you guys, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, you already know, I'd rather keep Anthony Davis for one more season, play it out one more year. But if he can't stay healthy after this season, and obviously LeBron James is on his player option, then it's time to let him go after this year if he can't stay healthy.
I think ideally you guys keep him too. Because if LeBron does leave, Anthony Davis is a massive piece where you can get a bunch of young players back.
Right.
That's true.
So it might be smart to keep him, have like a little reverse Lakers Pelicans trade.
Right. So,
For sure. But right now, right, his trade value is going down if the way he keeps playing stays the same. If he plays one every 3 games, his trade value is going down. So when will the time be for you guys to trade him, and how are you going to get the max for him?
Sorry about that. Cliffhanger Geo made an appearance again. But to answer your question, I think Anthony Davis, the right time to trade him would be in the next couple of years. So I feel like we could wait one more year and see if his value, because if he does play insanely well, his value would go up. I'm not saying we would trade him, but that would help if one day we do indeed trade him. But at the same time, I feel like you're right. If we do wait and then he keeps getting injured just like he did last season, it would hurt more. So I feel like it's 50-50. We could trade him now and get as much back as possible, or we could take the risk and wait. But like I feel like it's a win-lose or a lose-lose situation, to be honest.
I know I'm not involved in the conversation, but thinking about it from like my perspective, I think you kind of have to keep Anthony Davis at least this offseason. Because I know with the injuries and stuff, his trade value is low. But knowing how Anthony Davis showed he could play last season as well, when healthy, I feel like you got to ride it out a little bit more. Just in hopes that his value increases again.
I agree. That's why I do want to keep him one more season, because I know what a healthy Anthony Davis can do, and he's proven that he can win. He can win with LeBron. So I feel like if we do trade him, and it's just Russ and LeBron, that's not going to get it done.
I would have to agree with you, right? For what you gave up for Anthony Davis, I don't think you're going to get anything what you gave up for in return. Especially the way these players have been developing on these other teams. The way I see it is the Lakers franchise. If there's a culture, it's high risk, big reward. So Anthony Davis is that player where if he's a high risk player, but if he plays, that's a great reward and it could lead you guys to a championship. So yet again, I'm not, going against him or anything like that. I hope he plays. And if he does play a certain amount of games, like 40 to 60 games, I feel like you guys will win a championship again.
I agree. And he already has gotten us one big reward in the 2020 championship. So,
Right.
I mean, he's proven that he can win. It's just, can he stay healthy? I feel like, personally, I want to see him play at least 60 to 72 games this season.
That's asking a lot for him, but it's possible.
And he did do that in 2020, like when he was, everyone thought, oh, we won that trade by far. And now it's kind of, up in the air more. But like, I just don't know what happened between 2020 and the past couple of years for him.
Position change.
That's true. But like, that's also on the coach. So I feel like if this new coach does indeed, play him at the position that he is, would that help?
That's a good question.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick, going off topic? Adam Silver recently just said that he's considering, lowering the game total of the regular season, making it a shorter season. For these players like Anthony Davis who are injury prone, what do you think do you think injuries will go down for these types of players? Do you think these teams with injury prone players with high reward, will their win totals increase, or like what will happen?
I think the injuries would go down personally, because look at players like Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, etc. They get hurt like in the second half of the season mainly. So I feel like if they do lower it to, I don't know, maybe 70 to 60 in that range, I feel like that would lower it at least 5%, I would say.
Okay.
I also agree with that. I think injuries would go down. But I also think there could be a flaw to it as well, lowering the amount of games. Like this season, for example, if we had lower games this season, Boston wouldn't be the 2 seed. And then they might not be in the finals this year.
Right.
So there's like pros and cons to it, I guess.
Which is also why they've been, contemplating this for years because they know that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And same with like you could say the MLB, they've been contemplating the same thing. But what do you think, Gio?
I think it should be. I think it should be the same. If not, just like in the NFL, there's an asterisk right next to all of the achievements and all those things. Everything that like those players do after wasn't it like after week 10 or something, week 11, or was it after week 16?
At what?
Where they put the asterisks, after those achievements.
I would say it's probably after like week 14 to 16 in that range.
Is that when they start putting the asterisks, next to those achievements?
I would say so.
Okay. Because if that's the case, if they do shorten the season, I would have to do the same thing for the NBA or MLB, right? Because it's not fair to those players who did play 82 games, who played, those amount of games and then either, had higher numbers, or say these players don't get injured and they do produce more numbers. They do play harder in the regular season because there is less of a chance that they make the playoffs. So we'll see what happens if that does happen. So
it's fair.
So.
But I did want to talk about, the Lakers head coach hiring. We've touched on it briefly. Obviously, it's Darvin Ham. As a Lakers fan, I personally love the hire. I think he's long overdue for a head coaching job. He was in consideration for the Hornets job as well. I think he's a great fit for us. He's a physical coach. Even Kobe Bryant, praised him when he was the assistant coach for the Lakers. So I think that he's a great fit for us. He's a great fit for what we need, a physical coach. He will tell the players when they're not stepping up. Even if it's LeBron James or Anthony Davis, he'll tell them to step up. Like, he's not going to care. He was a former player. He was physical back in his day while playing. I think it's a great hire. Obviously, I did want Quinn Snyder, but unfortunately at the time he was still the coach of the Jazz. So I think this is the second best thing to Quinn Snyder personally.
I think it might be better than Quinn Snyder though too.
How so?
The biggest thing for that Lakers team last year for me was the accountability.
Right.
And
defense.
And defense. But like now you have a coach that's gonna be on people, like pushing them to do their thing. Like LeBron just kind of like coasting at the end of the season, just trying to like get his scoring up. It's like LeBron.
I think if we do keep Russ too, like, he could get the best out of Russ by pushing him. Like, Frank Vogel's like, "Oh, you suck, just sit the bench." But like, he'll keep him in the game and be like, "Step up, bro, let's go."
You make Russ angry, Russ gonna go dunk on someone. So like, you have a coach that's gonna keep yelling at Russ, he probably will step up and play better.
I agree. Obviously, I still don't want to keep him, but like, if we do end up keeping him like his look, and we're going to, I think he could get the best out of him.
I think he will I think he will amplify his game if Russ is still on the team.
What do you think, Gio?
So for me, I think it's great. His name's Darvin Ham, correct?
Yes.
I just want to make sure I was saying that. So
Yeah.
Darvin Ham did put out there that all workouts with Anthony Davis, LeBron James should also include Russell Westbrook. That would help with their chemistry. That would help with their gameplay and their playing style, so that they don't have to work on that during the season like they did last year. They were trying to do too much, especially when everyone was going down one after another. They never actually got all three of them playing to where they're all being part of the game efficiently. Russell Westbrook will have a bounce back season. He will elevate his game to not what he was when in 2016, but he will be that second half Wizards Russell Westbrook we saw last year or 2 years ago now. So I feel like Russell Westbrook is going to be on a tear, go on a tear. He's looking for vengeance. And I feel like I know you can give him most improved player, but he will be the most improved player from last year.
I can see it personally. Like, I just don't know if it'll happen because just fit wise, but like, I have been trash talking Russ, but like at the same time, as you said, Darvin Ham's gonna work with them in the offseason. Frank Vogel didn't do that, which was stupid, and that proved evident in the regular season.
Right.
Even when they were healthy, they didn't have the chemistry from the start, and
Right.
then them getting injured, like that entire season was just over, like much sooner than we wanted it to be because of injuries. And I think that also played a part in how Russ played because one day he was playing with Anthony Davis, the next it was LeBron James. Like you can't keep going back and forth with those two. And when the big three played together, it was evident that they barely played together, and that really hurt us.
But for me, right, sorry, Nick, 1 second. It goes back to history for me, right? When you have two great players with the IQ that LeBron James has and Russell Westbrook has, right? I feel like the passing ability of both of those players will make your team win at some point, and it will come to fruition, right? Where they will get a championship. So,
well, now I look to Pelinka too, though. Like, surround this team if we do keep Russ. Surround them with shooters, please. Like, yeah, keep Monk and Reeves, but the rest can go and get 3 and D guys.
As well.
Who?
Melo.
Right. Yeah. Keep Carmelo too, and then get the rest of the bench needs to be 3 and D guys because defense is where we really struggled.
I would try to get a big that can shoot the ball as well, like a Kristaps Porzingis, but a lesser known player.
That's fair.
Maxey
that would be a great get. Player. But you got anything you want to say on the Lakers topic, Nick?
Y'all hit it pretty well. I swear if they don't get some 3 and D guys,
we're not going nowhere.
Huh?
We're going nowhere if we don't get 3 and D guys.
I'll be frustrated for you, bro. So that's terrible.
Like, but I mean, yeah, Pelinka made a great hire. So now it's on to the offseason. He needs, if we keep Russ, we keep Russ. But like, let go of half that bench that didn't play at all. And you thought we're 3 and D guys and actually go and get some 3 and D guys.
I don't know. Y'all should keep Kendrick Nunn though if he can be healthy.
No, Kendrick's already on a 2-year contract, so I think he is going to stay.
That boy gonna be nice next year
if he can, get his knee right.
Very true.
But
for me though, right?
Go ahead.
If the Celtics do happen to win a championship this season, the pressure is already on the Lakers. There will be so much more pressure on the Lakers if Celtics do win a championship because there will be one more championship ahead of the Lakers at 18. So
I agree. And I think Russ needs to stop. I mean, I know he's an improved 3-point shooter, but I think he needs to stop shooting as much as he did last season or this season. I mean, and just get back to his driving ways because when he's full speed, there's barely anyone who can stop him, I would say.
Very factual. When Russ is focusing on getting to the hoop, I like that way better than him shooting any jumper.
Yeah. I mean, the only ones I can live with are the wide open ones, but like the pull-up ones, bro, get that out of your game. Like the pull-up mid-rangers, bro, just get to the rim, please.
Because even then, everyone knows Russ is a force of nature, too. He's going to, like, him driving to the rim, he's got the athleticism, like the big dog mentality, where people are expecting him to try like, drive in and dunk on someone's head. So they like, if he gets back to that kind of mindset, I feel like there's going to be more collapses in the defense, and then he can dish it out as well.
I agree. He also needs to clean up the turnovers, like stop getting in the air when passing and stuff. But like that just goes. I feel like he was trying to fit in too much, to be honest, last year.
He let it get to his head too much, I think, too.
Yeah, and I feel like Gio's right. He might have a bounce back season because he's going to hear all the talk surrounding him, and that's just going to make him fuel even more, I feel like.
For sure.
Yep.
But you got anything you want to add, Gio?
Yeah. To add on to Nick's point, right? I feel like he would be a better fit if they use him more like a Julius Randle, where they would have him post up more and inside and then pass it out, dish it out, because Julius Randle is not that great offensively. It's the way Thibodeau uses him offensively, right? Either when he's making shots just like Russ is making shots, but you need to get him inside. You need to post him up in the paint, either make an easy layup or dish it out. So
I agree. I think if Russ does have the ball in his hands, if he's on the team, if he has the ball in his hands a lot, he needs to get to the rim more than not because
right.
and he needs to convert his layups this season. Like he did get to the rim a bunch last season, but he was just I don't know what it was. He was just missing layups and dunks that we've seen him make easily in the past couple of years. So I don't know what it was, but hopefully it got out of his system. And if he does stay on the team, he can return to his old self.
For sure, because we have seen players like Dwight Howard, make a resurgence later in his career. So it's not,
Right.
it's not impossible for him to do that.
Very true. Got anything you want to say, Saya?
Just like the Dwight one. Although he's never gotten back to Orlando Dwight.
No, he never
My
will.
boy went back to LA for the second time. Boom.
Balled out.
Made something again.
Hey, he got his ring. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think he played bad.
No.
He played better when he was rather than in Houston. That's my opinion.
You mean this past season, like with the Lakers, or the first one?
Not the first time with the Lakers, but the second time he went to the Lakers is when he made his resurgence, in his career, where he took on his role, being that veteran, doing what he had to do, being dirty on the floor, getting the dirty plays. That's what he did. He made a resurgence in his career because he took on the role. That's all Russ has to do is accept the role he needs to.
And it also depends on what Coach Ham has in mind for them as well. So we just have to wait and see.
For sure.
He's got to follow that Giannis mentality more, There's like that one video of Giannis talking about ego and pride and how he just lives in the present. I need Russ to do that, humble himself a little bit, and take his role.
Facts. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to come off the bench, but don't think that you have to do it all when you get the ball in your hands.
Right.
Because you still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Those are two of the top players in the NBA. Get them the ball.
Honestly.
That's what we brought you here for, to take the load off them, but also to be yourself, which you weren't last year.
But the way it's looking like right now, I don't think Anthony Davis is a top 10 player right now.
I would say he still is personally, but that's just me.
So for me, a healthy Anthony Davis is top 5 in the league for me still.
I agree.
Okay.
But based off last season with the injuries, I cannot put him in the top 10. If he can stay healthy, then he's easily top 5.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, injuries, but I just go off what he can do when he's healthy still. That's why I'm keeping him in my top 10.
That's tough for me because for me, I jumped Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum in the top 10 right now.
It's fair.
Thoughts
Jimmy
on that?
Butler's not top 10?
Jimmy Butler is slept on top 10. I believe he is, right, in the playoffs. Regular season, he's not really doing that, but playoff Jimmy Butler, I don't know who I'd pick over him, to be honest. Might be LeBron James, but that's pretty much it. Because you get the defense with Jimmy as well. He's a dog. He's going to do all the things that no one else is going to do. So,
exactly. All right, I just had to check, You put young Jason Tatum up there. I had to.
Well, JT has proven defensively he has increased, defense guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo, guarding Kevin Durant, right? That's really what did it for me, is if you can defend like that and put on an offensive performance like he has been, to me, that's top 10. So,
well, if you're speaking of defense, though, Luka Doncic hasn't proved to be a good defender. He got exposed in the playoffs.
Right, but LeBron James isn't a great defender, right? Yes, he can bring out defense when he needs to, but the majority of the time he's playing like Luka Doncic.
It's true.
So I feel like Luka offensive game dominates over the defensive side. It's just like I would have to say it's just like Steph Curry, right? Although he has improved defensively, we have just seen. I don't know if you guys just watched game 2,
Yeah,
but
he did.
defensively, he was locking up. Steph Curry offensively overtakes his defensiveness, right? And I feel like him and Luka are those two guys that are in top 10, but don't show the defensive side like a Jason Tatum, like a LeBron James, possibly, like a Giannis, like those types of players. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
but for AD, he does have to step up in order to be top 10 for me. I can't
It's,
keep putting him in top 10 right now.
it's not a matter of stepping up for me because he's proven he can still play when he's healthy. It's just a matter of staying healthy.
And
Yeah.
being consistent, because last year he was healthy for some time, and when he was healthy, he would pop off for some games, and then he would, be nothing. So
That's true. But what do you got to say, Saya?
I'm excited, It's going to be an interesting offseason this year.
for sure.
Facts. But speaking of game 2, obviously the Warriors did take it. They tied it 1-1 in the NBA Finals, going back to Boston. They looked like the Warriors that we know and love this season. Obviously, in game 1, they did for, I would say, 24 minutes. The first half, they played great, but the second half, outside of the third quarter, they played all right. So 36 minutes out of 48, they played great, but the fourth quarter in game 1 was awful. They obviously took that to heart today and blew out the Celtics. I don't know. It's going to be a fun finals, obviously, from game 1 and 2 after watching them. I think it's going to be a back and forth finals. I think it's going to go to 7, and I think the Warriors will win 7.
I also agree that the Warriors will win in 7. But my bold take is Boston blows out the Warriors next game by over 20 points.
I mean, I can see that, especially with the way they've been playing at home. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
They gonna whoop them. Curry gonna have like 13 or something.
I can see that, to be honest, because Boston at home is so much better than they are on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you got to say, Gio?
I'm stunned right now. So before game 1, I had the Warriors, having a gentleman's sweep over the Celtics. I feel like the Warriors were going to be too powerful. They were going to win one game in Boston and then finish it out in home in 5. Now that game 1 is over, game 2, Warriors won. I think it's going to go to 7, right? Because I think they want to win at home, but at the same time, they want to close it out as soon as possible. I need to see game 3. I believe that, I think people are overhyping how well the Celtics are playing better at home than on the road. I feel like the teams that are playing on the road are playing worse than they do at home. I feel like the Celtics are pretty consistent in the way they play.
Yeah, but to go on that, the Warriors haven't played good on the road in the playoffs. It's only been at home.
It's the finals. I think that Klay Thompson will show up. I feel like since he is the top 5 shooter of all time, correct?
Yeah.
Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time.
Correct.
Also, you get Gary Payton the second back. I know he only played 56 games in the regular season. I don't know how many of those games they actually won, but I believe they won the majority of those games. When Gary Payton the second plays, it's a different defensive team because you have Draymond Green, I believe, is the best defender in the series. So with Gary Payton the second, you have that defense, and then you also have the offensive ability in Jordan Poole as well. So for me, I feel like this team's gonna overtake Boston, if not game 3, most likely game 4. So I think it's gonna be a 6-game series, if not sooner.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a split on Boston, and then it's going to be split until game 7.
I don't think the Warriors, if it does happen to go to game 7, I think the Celtics will win. Just because we've seen the Warriors choke in game 7s before in the finals, 2016, right? I fully believe that if it does go to Game 7, Boston will win. The Warriors need to close it out as soon as possible.
That's fair.
I think Boston wins the series in 7.
So you
And-
change.
Yeah, I have.
All right, cool.
I want the Warriors.
After the statements I just made.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. I was about to say I would have loved contributing to your factor of who you want to win, but
I mean, you contributed, but like
all right,
after that Heat Celtics series, that's what switched it for me.
right.
But what I was thinking about next game, I wouldn't say it's so much that Boston's at home, although that's a big, really big factor. Watching the Heat Celtics series, after the Celtics lose a game, they're on a mission. So I don't even think this game's gonna be close with them coming fresh off a loss and being back in Boston. I think they go wipe the floor with the Warriors.
That's very true, honestly. And I think the same goes for the Warriors, though, as they showed tonight. After losses, both teams come out on a mission.
Yep.
But I don't know. I still have Warriors in 7. I think experience will overtake inexperience in the series because obviously Steph Curry's been to 3 or 4, Klay Thompson as well. Draymond Green, I think those 3 already have more finals appearance combined than the Celtics team. So I feel like that's going to overtake that for the Warriors, and I think they're still going to end up winning. And I feel like Steph Curry is going to get his first finals MVP as well.
I would have to agree with you on that. Steph Curry is going to get his finals MVP. I still have the Warriors winning full-heartedly. I think 100% the Warriors will win this series. I just have doubt in Game 7 for them, but although I would still count the Warriors in it. The Warriors should win this series. Although the Celtics have been shooting lights out. They were 50%. I believe they were 22 of 49 first game. They were 11 for 19 in the first half of this game. They only made 5 3-pointers in the second half of this game as well. So it looks like their shooting percentage is going down. I don't expect them to shoot 50% from 3 every single game. So that's why I have to see Game 3. I believe that Boston's shooting percentage will go down. Golden State's defense will go up again. And I feel like Golden State will possibly win Game 3. And if they win Game 3, I think they'll win Game 4.
Fair, but I think the Celtics will get back to their good shooting ways at home. They always shoot lights out at home.
But they were 22 for 49, which 50%, and they're 50% in the first half tonight. Which is incredible. These guys have been going on a tear. From the arc. I can't see them shooting like this. Just like Klay Thompson's drought right now, I can't see him staying in this drought forever.
Honestly, if we're talking about Klay now, he needs to step up. You've been here before. I don't know what is going on with you. You don't have jitters. You've been in the finals. I don't blame Jordan Poole. It's his first finals because it's his first finals. He's young. He's going to be nervous. But Klay Thompson needs to play like Klay Thompson.
Game 1, I would blame it on Jordan Poole more than Klay.
Yeah, game 1, yeah. But I'm saying this game, even though they won, Klay did not play good.
They haven't, but they won by 19, so I think they're fine.
What do you gotta say, Sam?
Think about it, though. The last time we saw Klay play basketball, since he got hurt in the finals.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like that could be in his head a little bit. Although I feel like he just needs to get over it.
I agree.
Get back to Klay Thompson, but
I mean, Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson, that's valid, Saya, but Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson did show glimpses in this game. So I feel like they might be getting back on track after the good second halves they just had. But I mean, they have to do it for a full 48 minutes for the Warriors to have a chance.
For me, right, it's also the contributing factor of the Celtics defense. It's way better than a Toronto Raptors defense. And at the same time, we saw Klay Thompson at his best in his career before he got hurt. So it's not like he was, coming up. He was at his peak, I feel like. I don't think he's going to get any better. I feel like if he might get to the same level, but to put that on, pedestal and expect him to play like that, I feel like it's two different things. We have to expect him to play like the 2015, 2016 version of Clay, right? I don't think he's going to be back to the 2019 version for maybe a year. So,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not asking him to get back to his old self right away, but I feel like he has to do a little bit more than he has been.
right. And you also have to, put into factor, Jaylen Brown, right? Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum switching on him. I feel like those three guys, when you got those three defenders on you, it's hard to make shots if you're anyone. We saw that with Kevin Durant. So
That's true. I mean, I'm just saying it can't all be Steph for the entire 7 games if it does go to
right.
7. Someone's gonna have to step up.
And we'll see them step up. Like Jordan Poole, obviously, he was coming back tonight. Kayvon Looney, great offensive boards, great hustle. Draymond Green, defense. Everyone's been playing defense, so we'll just see.
Yeah, I mean it's valid. I just would like to see more from Clay personally.
So you got Warriors in 7.
I do, yes.
You have Boston or Warrior? Boston in 7, Nick?
Yep, I got Boston 7.
And I got the Warriors in 6 or 7. Hopefully earlier, though.
And we both got Steph Curry as Finals MVP.
Right.
Who you got? Say if Boston wins, you got Tatum.
JT, yeah.
Marcus Smart.
Really?
Well, we'll see, right? Because I would have to agree if his defensive play in Game 7 against Steph Curry and he shuts him down, I would have to agree with that.
Mm-hmm. That's my take.
Okay, that's fair. I would think it would be JT or JB, but Marcus Smart is also valid because you've seen what Iguodala won one for his defense, so
Right. Exactly.
you never
So
know.
did Kawhi, so
That's true. But I don't know. It's gonna be a fun finals. I think it's gonna be back and forth.
I would have to agree on that statement as well.
What are you thinking about, Saya?
Yeah. So I'm thinking about when Boston wins this championship.
If
What does that do to Stephen Curry's ego?
I don't think it would do anything to his ego personally.
I feel like he's won 3 championships already. He knows he's a champion. He'd be 3 for 6, right? If he loses this one. 50% is not bad, right? Especially being in the NBA for a championship. But Steph Curry will already be the best shooter of all time, greatest shooter of all time. He's already got that cemented. So I don't think his legacy will be tarnished at all. I don't think he's going to be as, the greatest player of all time like Jordan or anyone like that. I don't even think he can be top 10 just because of who is in top 10 right now. But he will be the greatest shooter of all time, and you can't knock that away from him.
But what I'm saying is this year is one of his last few chances, I would say, to get the Finals MVP.
Right.
Fair. Yeah.
So if he doesn't get it this year, it's gonna be like D Wade and MVP. It's just always gonna be hung around him.
Right.
But I also feel like he knows he should have won a couple at most. So I feel like it wouldn't get to him that much.
Fair.
I think his unanimous MVP, overtakes any Finals MVP. So that's just me, though.
That's fair.
That is true, though.
But Steph Curry, if this team is the way they are now, I fully agree with Stephen A. I feel like they will win 2 more championships with the squad.
I could see him winning 1 this year. I don't see him winning 2 though.
I see them winning this one and then possibly next one, if not the next year. If Klay Thompson goes back to full Klay Thompson and he's healthy.
That's the thing though. Clay had 2 major injuries. There's a torn ACL and a torn Achilles we're talking about.
All you need him to do is shoot.
As much as I love Clay, I just don't think he'd get back. He's gonna ever get back to his old self.
Okay. But also put into this for a second, you're getting James Wiseman.
That is true. I forgot they do have Wiseman, who
Who
hasn't
was
played at all.
number one pick in the draft
Number
2 years
2, I
ago?
believe.
Number 2 pick in the draft 2 years ago. So
That's true.
The only thing is they'll have to run into Miami, and then that's not gonna end well. So.
We'll see. There's Thea's biased take for the day.
Right. I haven't let enough of those out yet.
But no, that's true. I mean, if they do get Wiseman back, I could see him getting back to the Western Conference Finals and Finals. It was just a matter. I feel like we have to wait and see how much stronger the West gets as well.
I can agree with that. It's just for me, I don't have any confidence in both LA teams right now, at least the way they're constructed. The only team I would be worried about is possibly the Nuggets, or even Phoenix if they come back healthy, and Memphis. Those 3 teams right there. So
I think the Lakers will be constructed much better in a couple of years from now. I think we'll be contenders, and maybe even this year, if not the next year. So I think you do have to throw us in the mix personally, but I'm also biased. And the Clippers, I mean, as much as I hate them, they're always contenders. With a healthy Kawhi and PG, they will be contenders.
they will be contenders, but we haven't seen them go past the second round. So
That is true. I'm not saying they will because they haven't proven they can, but it also depends on if they do get pieces that they need.
for sure.
It's just gonna be tough seeing Miami in the finals for the Warriors. So.
On that note, Gio, you got anything you want to say for your segment?
I got nothing really. I focused all my time mostly, looking at, the NBA finals and seeing what the Warriors have to do and what Boston has to do in order to win a championship. I've been looking more at, what the Cavs have to do in the offseason. I've been looking at what Colin Sexton's moves could be. So for me, my segment, I just wanted to say Colin Sexton, I can't wait to see where he goes. I hope he stays with us. I want to see what happens with him.
It's fair. For video games, obviously there's not been much going on releasing wise, but Madden 23 will come out in August, obviously, and the cover will be the legend John Madden. Rest in peace to him, and I think that's a great tribute from Madden.
I think that's fire. That's really good about Madden. But with music, I gotta give it to my boy Polo G. He dropped a new single, but another one to like Post Malone, who drops an album thing. I haven't listened to it yet, but I heard it was good. Yeah, music.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. See y'all Tuesday.
Yep. Thanks for watching. You can like, comment if you want. And if you're really feeling up to it, Gio.
Hey, make sure you guys subscribe. Thank you guys so much. See you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.